if I die tomorrow, I hope you hear these words. I ain't here to flip no birds or sip no serve. Hope the future generations can get this urge. Stay woke, youngin', and avenge these nerds.
Fuck it, it's Friday night and it's Tuesday night and everybody's out. We got listen,
Close enough. It's Friday somewhere.
It's Friday somewhere. So in case you guys didn't notice, we have George Medina and Mighty Palm back on the show. Listen, again, at this point they have a reserved seat on the couch.
Always. I'm always happy to see when they're here.
Dude,
Awesome.
Indeed.
So in case you guys are wondering, smile, we had an awesome time in the green room.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, it got heated.
Oh boy.
There was things about football teams. There was things about gorillas. I don't know.
The best thing that happened today was that we got SWAT cats announced for the revival.
Is that real? Is that real?
Yes.
I won't believe it till I'm
kind of like that too. But I did the whole like searching multiple sources, and it's true.
I saw it on my feed. I'm like, this ain't real.
Right. No, same, absolutely same. Until I saw the Google search of like a bunch of people breaking the story, and I was like,
a phishing scam. That's what this is. To get my personal data.
George, Paul, how have you guys been? What's up? Welcome back.
Oh man, this is gonna be a show. This is gonna be.
It's gonna be something.
It's gonna be something.
It's gonna be something.
So for everybody who like Peacemaker, raise your hand.
I'm gonna take my hand out of frame.
Hater. You can't see the hater here.
Let's see the hands for those who like Boba Fett.
You mean Book of Mandalorian?
You mean the best episode of Boba Fett, which didn't have the main character Boba Fett in the episode.
I'm so glad I'm here for this.
I will say, like, episode. Mandalorian is a lot better, but Book of Boba isn't bad. It's just not what everybody. It's not what everybody wants or expected.
George, you ready for?
I have something on that, but I gotta save it.
Go. We're gonna save it.
Let's jump into announcements.
Wait, let's go to announcements first before we do that. So let's get into some announcements. So here's some announcements. Listen to the Medusa's Cascade every Saturday. New episodes come out. Make sure you guys are listening. And Beyond Con is happening August 20th.
What is with you and dates today?
I am off. Yeah, I am so off.
It's Friday.
Listen, I took my dog. It's Friday. That's it. It's Friday. That's why we're gonna say it's Friday. It's Friday somewhere, in some alternate reality. August 20th and 21st, and Beyond Con is going again online. So make sure you guys are saving the dates. Also, to what else was there? Oh yeah, love. Throw away though. Come on, throw it in there. The book.
I can. To the book.
Drop the link.
To the book. I could try. Oh, God, you don't have the link by now. Jesus Christ. All right. So my first book, To the Boy That Grew Up, is out now. Available on Amazon for digital and for physical copy prints. It has been selling really well. Everyone's loved it. I love the love. I've seen like an unboxing of it. I almost cried. It's a whole thing. 15 poems and 15 photos over the past 20 plus years of me doing this, and I'm excited for more.
Also, to guys, catch Pong, because we have Pong on the show today on twitch.tv/SinShop. I put the link there. So make sure you're joining Pong every Mondays and Fridays. See, look, I'm making the fucking days. Mondays and Fridays.
You can catch me here on Tuesdays, but Mondays and Fridays, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Yeah.
And George, give your announcement. You have a Kickstarter announcement, right? Wonder Duck is coming soon.
Yes, Wonder Duck. Wonder Duck is coming on May 4th. May the 4th be with you. Wonder Duck will be live. Right now, I have a pre-launch page up, so you guys can check that out. Click the link, and if you do click the link and let me know that you clicked that link, I will be sending you guys a PDF of a print that's going to be just for the people who sign up. So it's going to be exclusive to you guys. And then if you guys do pledge on the day of the campaign, I will send you an 8x10 print of that same photo to you guys. So that's going to be fun. So yeah, if you guys make sure you get on there and support, the duck.
The duck. We got the duck, the Wonder Duck. I can't wait, bro. Again,
excited for you.
Indeed.
George has been killing it with his his other buddy, the other half.
I feel like everyone's been dropping projects left and right, and I'm here for it. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. It's busy. And I don't know if you guys saw that tomorrow, if you guys are available, we're gonna be live. We're gonna be talking about the Robert Kirkman
Hey, what's
incident
going
with artists and all that other stuff. You guys want to come on and talk about that on the show? We're gonna be live doing that.
Oh,
So you
I
guys are
gotta
welcome.
research that. I didn't hear that.
Open.
I
Yeah, you have an open
I
invitation.
kind of heard about it, but I'm not like too familiar with it.
Yeah.
But
So,
hello, Arelis.
at least. Yeah. So
Hello, muy
What's up?
gusto. What's up? What's
And
up?
then Dave came in with the dates.
Oh yes. There-
Right,
there
October
you go.
22nd, 1973.
My boy right here. You know.
Yes.
And
He's speaking that sea bass language.
He
there
is.
you go.
He is.
That's it. Listen. It's all the bourbon today. Let's go. It's fine. I'm hungover off of Chick-fil-A. There we go.
It's
But here we
Taco
go.
Tuesday, man. But okay.
Taco Tuesday. Yeah, I get. But
He gets a little of that sauce
Yo,
in
this
him, and
year
next thing you
Taco
know,
Tuesday, like 2/22/22 is a Tuesday,
Oh,
so
wow.
it's amazing. Let's have fun.
Cool.
Just have to put that out there. So
Oh, it's my turn. My bad.
Do the thing.
yeah,
Okay,
do it.
So before we start, I'm sorry. I understand that this is a nerds podcast, and we are talking all things nerdery, in which of Peacemaker and Boba Fett. But I'm sorry, I have to say the greatest quarterback of all time has retired today, and I'm cracking one for him.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh no! Who removed you from frame, kid? It's like someone didn't care.
What the fuck was this? All right, you know what? I don't care. TB12, greatest quarterback of all time.
Nah.
I'm happy. Anyway, so we were talking spoilers, my friends. We're going to be talking Book of Boba Fett. The episode known as, what is the episode known? Because it ain't Boba Fett. It is Return of the Mandalorian. The best episode of the series did not have Boba in it, and I'm very confused. I know everyone has their own hot takes of where this show is going, but I, for one, am very happy that we got some Mandalorian because it was well worth the wait. Where was this man? We miss you. Please come back for season 3. And tomorrow's episode, he potentially may be getting Grogu or whatever the fuck, and which is how we're going to deal with the fact that Luke sucked as a Jedi Master. And then later on tonight, we'll also be talking 2 episodes of Peacemaker. We'll be discussing The Chode Less Traveled and Monkey Dory, in which we will all discuss and how much the show's amazing. And Law will sit there and be a hater of all haters because the DCAU has done something to him that I can't understand. So it is what it is. Let's get to it. Mandalorian is in Boba Fett, and everyone knows that there are butterflies in skulls via Peacemaker. So let's go.
There we go.
First,
All right,
let's get to we got the hey dudes.
What's up?
What's up, Anibal?
Michelle.
Michelle does not approve of that message tone. David also doesn't approve of that message. Just saying, and yes, we do want to see Baby Yoda back.
I will say, last week I was in the chat and I said that I read that Grogu was going to be on the show. You guys laughed me off, and now he may actually be on the show. I just
wait.
They were like, I don't think so, but
I mean, I guess.
To be fair, I was not here last week.
No, you were not.
I guess Dave Filoni.
Law was here last week. He was in the chat.
I was in chat, but I wasn't seeing all of chat.
I guess Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau just had to figure out how they're going to work around the prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy, and the fact that Luke sucked at his job. So
maybe we never know. I mean, anything could happen right now.
I think in the Ahsoka show we're getting Ezra.
Oh yeah,
sounds likely.
Most likely. So I want to get everybody's feedback on this episode. The episode that did not star Boba in it. It starred our homeboy Mando doing Mando things and just pretty much carrying the franchise on his back.
Thank you.
George, go ahead. You had some hot takes last week. Come on.
Yeah, well, listen, according to IMDb, the Book of Boba Fett episode 5 is the highest rated episode to date. And Boba Fett wasn't even in it. So, that says a lot about, and I thought it was only me. I was like, maybe it's just me and Pong. Maybe we just don't. But it looks like there's more people out there who are thinking that maybe this show isn't exactly, and like you guys said, what we expected, but also I don't think it's being, well received. I don't think it's all that great, to be honest with you. So
I've decoded it.
This is reminding me of Abe Simpson, old man yelling, "Not my Boba Fett."
So I will not be yelling, and I know why now. I came to this realization as I was getting ready for the show. Here's the thing: this whole series is something that I will hereby dub Veggie Tales. This is an episode called Veggie Tales. Why now? What the hell? Why are you calling it Veggie Tales? Because you got to eat your veggies if you want what's coming next. So you got to power through this. These are your veggies. You got to eat them.
Okay.
And then later on, you're going to get a new series of Mandalorian, and you're going to get Ahsoka Tano, and you're going to get Ezra, and all the other things. You're going to get those, but you got to eat your veggies first.
But what if you hate the broccoli?
It's just a shame that Boba Fett had to be the vegetables when he came into Mandalorian season 2, and we were all like hot.
Yeah,
we were like, we're here for it.
Yeah,
and I think the flashbacks worked really well, and I'm good with the flashbacks. But it's just taking so long to develop where he's going that it took away from the hype that we got from him in this show, which was a bummer, because all it took was for Mando just to show up in a silhouette, and we're all like, I want more.
What's up, Vic? Vic over at Comments, guys.
Vic.
Yeah, no, I really I had to talk with Wicked about the show too. It's just funny that Book of Boba should have just been tied into Mandalorian season 3, and we could have had it as a side story going on while Mando was doing Mando's things. This episode that had Mandalorian, it was a gift to Star Wars fans because you bring these Naboo fighter in it. You have Boba. We learn more about the Black Saber. And then the fact that it just tied into more with them. And I'm slowly seeing that the Book of Boba is not about Boba, but it's more about the surrounding characters in the world. And it just sucks because your main character is falling flat. Everything around him, I'm for it. I love everything that's happening. But in terms of the main character, he's just this 6th episode, he has to hit a home run. Otherwise, I wouldn't want a Book of Boba season 2. Go ahead, Lo.
I don't know if like Book of Boba is supposed. I'm gonna take a wild shot in the dark. I don't know if Book of Boba is supposed to give us a season 2. They're probably gonna give us something to like a crime syndicate show. So they're setting up Boba as like, hey, I'm going to be a major player, but we're also going to see a lot of other major players. Do I love the show? I'm not in love with the show. I'm like not over the moon with the show, but I like it. I like that the character has gone from the Sarlacc pit and been this like, myth, legend kind of guy, and kind of shed all that away to like grow and become this whatever character he's being now. Not a lot of people like it. Hashtag not my Boba, the whole to do, whatever. I did like this episode from what I saw with him, with Jin and the Dark Saber was taken like from Rebels, if I'm not mistaken. When I forgot what her name is with the colorful Mando armor, but she was trying to wield it and then eventually realized how to.
Armor? Is it?
No, it wasn't Bo-Katan. It was I can't remember her name because I never watched
Sabine.
Thank you.
Arelis got you.
Yes, thank you, Sabine. Overall, I think like tomorrow's episode is going to be one of those things where we all want a slam dunk out of the park kind of thing. If we don't get it, I feel like because we set expectations too high. And we probably went into this wanting a show that was something completely different, and we got a show and we're not happy because that's not the show we wanted. But it's like Eternals all over again. It's not that show for that. It's a show to like place and project you to wherever it's supposed to go.
Veggie Tales.
So I will say that in regards to what our expectations were, my expectations were pretty much just what we got from Mando season 1. Like we knew Mando season 2 was going to be bigger and better, but Mando season 1 came in and just threw their shit on the table when he walks in and does his famous line of "I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold." I heard that line on the train. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in.
Right.
I was like, this ain't.
Tone immediately gave me his
Yes.
Disney Plus
I
like
did.
info.
I was
He was like,
walking
"You're
to
watching
work.
that shit right now."
Like, Disney Plus launched and it was all buggy and everything, but I was able to download and watch this episode on the train to work. And I'm walking to my office and I told Law, "Here's my password. Watch this shit right now." Like, so that was the expectation that
I've never co-signed something so fast.
Yeah, like
fair.
so like I didn't have that expectation for Mando. Like I was excited for it. Pedro Pascal's in it. Look, like the casting and everything got me excited. I'm gonna watch this no matter what. So going into Book of Boba, I had that same expectation of like this is gonna be as good as season 1, and also how they brought Boba Fett in and the way he portrays himself. I'm like, oh, all right, because we never got that version of Boba in the movies. We just saw him as this bounty hunter with a reputation, but we never really saw him how he got that reputation. Mandalorian season 2, he comes in, he starts whacking dudes, he's got the rockets on his knee pads, he's doing all the things, and then he's coming over, he kills Fortuna, and we're like, oh, it's gonna be like a mafia thing. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm here for it. But then we get this backstory of how he is who he is, but he's doing this whole journey in the present. I'm like, dude, what? Where's that guy?
Peyote lizards.
You know, like where's that guy? Where's the present day Boba? Like, because it's just it's such a slow burn as it builds up into this thing, because half of each of the first 3 episodes were flashbacks. So it's taken us weeks to get to moving forward in the present, and now we're on episode 6 of 7. And we're finally going to see what's going to happen. So it's odd. Maybe they could have done the flashbacks like straight up and then leading up into it. So you're getting full episodes of the present as opposed to, mixing it back and forth. But I get why they did it. He's doing these things here because this is what happened to him there. So right. I think, I think that's kind of where it falls off because it's just taking so long.
The problem with that, Tone, and I agree with you, man, but I think the problem is that you're right. He's doing these things here because that happened there, but what is he doing in the present? Like, what is actually happening? I don't know what's happening. Nothing's happening. Like, everything happened in the past. That's cool. He got to know that, the Sand people, and they actually were, he helped them, whatever. They killed him. Now he's got a reason to kind of be angry and say, okay, you know what? He went and he avenged them. But in the present, what's actually happening? I still don't know. Like,
I think what we're getting, because
it should be the Book of Fennec. Like, it should be the Book of Fennec. Like, she's badass. She's making things happen, and he's not. He's kind of like, no, we shouldn't do that. Should we do that? I don't know if we should do that. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Like, dude, make a decision. Let's go. Like, you're Boba Fett. Let's do this. You know what I mean?
It's worse than that, because he's like, I've made a decision. We don't want to. Okay.
I don't think that it was thrown in, but
I think that was planned.
I think it was planned.
I think bringing Mandalorian in was planned because I know we've talked about it on this show of like where season 3 of Mandalorian is going to go and what that point is, and it probably has to do with the fact of the Mandalorians coming together and using this lore of the Darksaber as Jin just makes himself moving forward to being that leader of the people, because I think that's what they're trying to do. We've already gotten hit with the lore last season. We got hit with the lore again this past episode. Like, those are tying the seeds of the Mandalorians making a comeback. Yeah. And then, I don't know, they die off in the sequel trilogy because fuck it all. But,
fuck it all.
It's Jon Favreau's world and we're just living in it, like.
I just want to touch up too, because like I said, I feel like Boba has really, he does take a backseat to the show, because like how you said, Joyce, like what is he doing right now? He's not focused on bounty hunting, and it's becoming about the cast and the world that's around him. It's not even focused on the main character anymore. It's, again, if you look at it, it was focused on the bikers who came to join him. That episode, they were the ones doing the chase. It became about Black Chrysanthemum. We're introducing him in the show. So it's kind of like, it's called the Book of Boba, but it's more of him taking the back seat. And as I said, Val made a good point where it was that in this first episode, and when we see Boba in the beginning, it's just him sitting in an empty hall with Fennec. What we're probably going to just see, and like I said, and just my belief is that for this show to really have an impact with fans, the next episodes have to be hard hitting. He has to now start putting his foot down, because we're getting the slow burn of him building his army. And it's like we're seeing a version of Boba that we don't know. It's a diplomatic Boba, and he's trying to build his army, and what he's doing is build that trust. But it's such a slow burn from what we've got from the Mandalorian. But let's throw a Tom Brady pass to Pong with this question. It's this. I want to ask you guys. I'm going to start with Pong with this one. How did
Who's
you
Tom
feel about
Brady? Oh, you're Tom Brady.
I watched the Super Bowl for the commercials.
And the wings.
And the wings. There you go. How did you feel about the explanation though of going into the lore of the dark saber in this episode that we got in the Book of Mandalorian? Pong, I'll let you go with this one.
Well, so as far as the lore for the dark saber, it was a kind of a review of what we knew from the last season of Mandalorian, which cool, no issues there. I did wonder who the hell's in charge of the Mandalorians, because the one that wields the dark saber is the one that can do the thing with the stuff, right? But at the same time, someone saw his face, so he's kicked out of the Mickey Mouse Club. So now what happens? Because he's simultaneously the only guy that can lead, because he's got the dark saber. He was even challenged for it in battle, couldn't get it. So who's in charge of the Mandalorians right now? And I think that might be what season 3 is about. But go ahead.
I think he still is. So he's still a Mandalorian, but he's not a part of what that religion that like his group is.
Yeah,
his group because that's what Bo-Katan said. Like they're religious zealots, essentially. Like they're hyper, whatever.
They weren't on Mandalore during the Purge,
right?
So, because she says that they were on one of the moons. If I'm recalling the dialogue correctly, they were on one of the moons of Mandalore. So the leader of Mandalore is the one who has the darksaber. And I think what's going to happen. He's not part of that clan anymore because he was just like, I showed my face to the people I care about. And I think it's probably going to do with the fact that Mandalorians are scattered, and that's kind of been like their shtick even before Attack of the Clones and all this. Mandalorians have always been a scattered people. In the old legend, they were scattered people, and like they were mercenaries and all that. So it may be him just kind of bringing everyone together, either to bring his people to go back to Mandalore to find a new planet, or just to kind of solve a problem that he feels is missing. Because I think Din is trying to figure out what his purpose is now. Because it's not just doing bounties at this point. It's before it was doing bounties. Then he met Grogu and he felt he had a bigger purpose, and he decided to give Grogu up to Luke. And now he's trying to figure out, okay, well, what's my purpose now? And then after getting the darksaber from Moff Gideon, it's been presented to him that, oh, well, you're this person. You may not want to be this person because Bo-Katan wants to be this person, but currently right now you're this person, and you're gonna do some prophecy, bring our people back together, or something. I'm interested to see what they do. Interested how it works. It's just I'm just curious as to like the timeline, man. I hate it because I know I don't want to be stuck to it, and I don't want to think about it, and it's separate. It's just the timeline just gets to me of like you do all this really cool stuff.
Animal.
I want to see what.
I think he's gonna run the animal.
What was it, the mammoth thing, the jumbo?
Okay.
George,
but he would still have to go to that, like the waters, and the waters were destroyed.
My question, maybe you guys can answer this for me. Is all right. So he has this battle with what's his name?
We're just gonna call him Big Dude.
Yeah, with big dude, right? He defeats him, and it's done, right? And then she asks. Now, is that normal for her? Because it just came out of left field. Like, have you ever taken your helmet off? Like,
it was brought up. I'm like, I think it was brought up in season 1.
Yeah.
No, I know you're not supposed to take it off. I understand that.
Yeah.
But is she supposed to ask that after every battle to see if you are worthy of that sword? Or because it just came out of nowhere to me. I'm like, why the fuck is she asking that? She didn't ask. It's his sword. Let's move on. She was like, have you ever taken your helmet off? And now we all know he's fucked.
I think she
took that shit off.
I think she was trying to calm down the moment because this dude was just heated at him, like, my family made that sword. It should be a man. And then he beat his ass.
Mando had him dead to rights at that point.
But also, I think, I think almost every time we've seen her interact with Din, like she's asked that question because that's one of those things that is like, have you taken off your mask? Have you because are you sticking to the tenets essentially?
Yeah.
And
how long has it been since your last confession, my child?
That whole thing. But also, I think it was more important, less for like to take the oh my god, I just lost in my ego shit from the other dude, but it was more because he had the saber. Yes, it's the Creed. Like, I think it was because the Creed and because he had the saber now, she's like, do you have this? Like, do you have you ever taken off your mask?
Right.
And she's like, well, you're not one of us, but you're about to lead the Mandos. So if you're gonna do that, you gotta figure some shit out. Like it wasn't so much as like you gotta go fuck yourself. It was more like you gotta go, but like I trust that you're gonna figure out how to redeem yourself and how to bring like everyone together.
Yeah. I wouldn't be. I was thinking like even if he had said no and everything in the past didn't happen, he just had it. She probably would have been like, "All right, well then we're gonna follow you."
Yeah.
Because you're now the leader. You're the leader.
Right.
You're the leader of our group now because you have the dark saber and all this other stuff. But now she's like, you're excommunicado. Like you can, you don't gotta go home, but you can't be here no more. You know.
And in answering your question, Seabass, about what the lore of the sword. I love the fact that it's heavy, right? Like that you can't, and granted, in some instances it doesn't look like it's heavy, but I get it. But like even at the beginning of the show, you can tell the weight of it because he's dragging it along. It's sloppy the way he's using it. He burns himself. You understand what I'm saying? So I like that they incorporated that into it. She's telling him you're fighting against it. You know, you're supposed to be fighting. You know what I mean? Like, so I thought that was really well done the way they did that, which made it very interesting for me.
Yeah, that ties into the lightsaber lore in itself because you have to be force sensitive to use a lightsaber. So it makes sense that it was, but like they don't have the force, so they're not force sensitive. They don't have midichlorians, right? But there's a way to go about it because of who created it. But there's always been a thing where like you can only use a lightsaber correctly if you're force sensitive because you know what to do because it's so light. It's such a light weapon, and if you go against it, you're gonna hurt yourself. And I think it's kind of the opposite, where it's heavy. Unless you work with the weapon becomes an extension of your arm,
right?
Versus fighting against it, because he was fighting more like a brawler with it. Even when Moff Gideon was fighting it, he didn't really have like finesse with it. He was just swinging it.
Yeah.
So
also, I was going to ask, not to cut you off, Seabass, what do we think that the Beskar steel spear got melted down for Grogu for?
Chainmail.
Yeah, chain.
Yeah.
That scene hurt. That scene hurt me so much.
Because you saw her. You saw,
As a person who does some hobbyist metallurgy, why the hell did you quench it? Why would you quench it? You didn't even finish melting it. You melt it down. You pour that into molds to make the links, and then why are you quenching it? That's gonna just screw it up.
Oh my god!
Sorry. Anyway,
I quench all the time.
Beskar.
Beskar works different.
Beskar's different. There you go. There you go. We're back.
I do want to talk about the visuals of this episode, which was really because again, like they all up until now, most of the time we've been on Tatooine, even though this episode goes back to Tatooine. We did get to see other parts of the Star Wars universe in this episode, such as how people are being like after the Empire, how people are being transported to different worlds on
Galactic Megabus.
Galactic Megabus. There you go. I was gonna say Galactic Spirit Airlines, but I'll go with that one. That satellite city that we saw that was really dope. The dudes he brought the head to. The butcher shop too. Oh my god! I mean, I want to get you guys' thoughts on the visuals that we saw in this episode.
Yeah, no.
Who wants to go first?
Somebody really likes Halo.
Yeah,
Somebody absolutely loves Halo.
Yeah, we're gonna cover it.
We got you, Alibaba. We got you.
We got you. Yep.
Are you a hater or you enjoy it?
Nah, he put me on to that. Like he put me on to Peacemaker in Suicide Squad. He was telling me I hated him in Suicide Squad. He loved him in Suicide Squad. And he was like, I'm glad he's getting his own show. I was like, why is this guy getting his own show, dude?
We were all like that.
Like, this is stupid. Like, why is he getting his own show? And then, anyway, we'll go into that. But
we'll get to it.
The visuals are dope, man. The visuals, I'm sorry, Pung, you were saying it.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. It's fine.
No. I was just going to say, like, I thought that in that one episode, they told me more about this guy's plight than in the last 4 episodes that I've been watching about that other gentleman's plight. And he's the main star of the show. Like, I understood that Mando was there to do a mission, completed his mission, grabbed this guy. I need information so I can find my friend. Where do I get it? But I got to go underneath because that's where my people are and they'll be able to guide me. I need to go there. Okay, this is where they are. Cool. Let me go down there. Do what I got to do. Oh, shit. Now I'm kicked out of here. What am I going to do? Now I got to leave here. Where am I going to go? Now I want to know what happens next. You see what I'm saying? Like the way they did that episode was just so well done. Like if they could have just done the rest of this, I don't want the old Boba. I don't care about that. I just want a good story. Give me the hero's plight. You want to give me that? Give me that. But give it to me right. Like, don't try to trick me with, like, he's having flashbacks. That's like you're tricking. You're trying to trick me into like, I want to be interested. I've seen that. That's not what that. Give me something else. And even if it's what I've already seen, make it interesting, dude. Like what they did with this episode. So the visuals really helped because it took us from different worlds. We even got to see where what's his name, Anakin raced when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Some of that shit, the detail they threw into that shit. I was like, yo, that race happened there. That like one of those roads was still busted from when he was racing when he was a kid. I'm like, holy shit, the attention to detail that they did. I was amazed.
That was a lot.
I thought they did a great job with this.
Bryce Howard, I'm telling you, the apple did not fall far from that
They
tree.
have really been connecting to the prequel trilogy in ways that you don't really think about, because bringing in the scenery of Tatooine, bringing in who the Sand People are, and then making you like question like, that's fucked up what Anakin did. Now I know why he was just able to kill kids, because he was because I think we talked about this prior, like everything else is Sand People. They're just savages, they're just bad guys. They just stole your mother. And they're like, all right, well, I'm gonna go kill all these motherfuckers. It's like,
right.
I killed them. I killed the mother, the women, and the children too. They went down like dogs. I'm like, Jesus.
I kicked their dog. There was a little dog there, and I kicked that too.
And then he's like, will you marry me? She's like, yes.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
I'll have
here
your
for
babies.
Let's do this.
Both of them.
Yep.
So everything that you were just saying there about Howard, I forgot what's her name?
Bryce Dallas
Howard. Like the same people have been in charge of all the shows so far, and that's why I say that this isn't. It's not that it's bad on purpose. It's just not doing what you think it should be doing. It's there. It's a veggie tale. I'm telling you. This is going to be a thing. No, because you have to eat your veggies to get to the other stuff. It's there to service the other things. It's not there to be a thing on its own. It's there to prop up the other things that are coming. I'm like, if there isn't a big last 2 episodes, it would not surprise me at all.
I just think, why call it Book of Boba? Right? Like, why call it Book of Boba? And then maybe, you turn it, just call it Mandalorian season 3. And the Mandalorian then moves away from Jin and becomes Boba, because he's still a Mandalorian. Because now, before he was Mando, and now he's gone beyond that. And then you can kind of weave in, you can weave in the Mandalorian with Boba, but you're still having that story. You calling it Book of Boba, and then like, it's not a good sign when your best episode doesn't have your main character in it. Like, that's just not a good sign. I love it. It was a great episode, and my son was having a great time because he kept telling me that I lied to him, saying that Mando wasn't going to show up. And he was like, "You're right, you lied to me." I'm like, "All right, dude, whatever, man.
You win this one."
All right, dude. I think like that's, to me, is the problem. So maybe, Book of Boba maybe wasn't it, or maybe it was just Mandalorian season 3, and like they let you know that Mandalorian season 3, we're not going to continue that story yet with Din until a little bit later. It's going to be now about Boba, and Din may show up.
Are you guys ready to be shocked? The guy that does the show with me on Mondays and Fridays, he's out of town for the last week. I've yet to talk to him. He saw this episode and hated it.
Ooh.
He said it wasn't anywhere near as good as the other. I was like, "What on earth are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, there's just all the other ones. There was really good political drama, and this one just seemed like a bunch of sci-fi gobbledygook." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, the scene where they went to the armor and all that." I was like, "Wait a minute, did you see Mandalorian season 2?" He's like, "Oh, no." So what's interesting about that, though, is if you don't come into it with the prior knowledge, it's apparently a whole different show.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
yeah. You can see because it's like, if you don't know the character, there's a lot that you're gonna miss there, especially if you miss the last 2 episodes. Which again, this should have been Mandalorian season 3, where we're still getting Mando's story, but also too, we can also throw in what's happening with Boba, and Mando would definitely help him out after Boba came in and helped him with his shit. But
before we jump, just like the last thing too, just to make the point of what it feels like Disney has gone beyond the point of hand holding their viewers.
Yeah.
Like they're beyond, like they did it with Marvel, and like we know where we are with Marvel. Like if you haven't caught up, we're no longer going to handhold you anymore because there's 10 years of content, and you can go.
And we gotta go.
Well, what Marvel's doing
we
now,
gotta move. But no, but it just feels like they're doing that now with Star Wars.
Yeah,
like, they're doing it with the shows. They're doing it like what you said, right? If you didn't watch Mandalorian season 1 and 2, this episode comes out of nowhere. Be like, why the fuck are we talking about this random dude? I'm like, you need to watch the other two seasons. And then we're gonna get Ahsoka and be like, Ahsoka's gonna probably talk about the things that she went through and be like, all right. I don't know if they're doing it with the animated stuff. I think that is where the pivot is, because they keep bringing in Mandalorian lore, which was brought in for Attack of the Clones the last season.
I think the smartest thing, though, to your point, Zone, and I'm sorry about that. I think what they should do, because Marvel, with the new phase, they released something called Marvel Legends, which is a recap of a lot of the stuff of each character. And I think that's what they should do with Star Wars for some of the fans who don't know a lot of the characters or a lot of the lore behind that, which I think they should have done. But yeah, you could totally see that, and I agree with you.
But aren't they rewriting? Not rewriting, but this is a sandbox, because they're feeling yes, they should do it with the old lore, but for this existing lore now, a lot of the old lore doesn't necessarily dictate where this is going to go, if that makes sense.
It's just to introduce characters, because like if you're bringing in characters, you can do quick shorts with that and do snippets if you bring in the right team. But I want to talk about Pele Maro, who again redefined what it is to date a Jawa, because she dated a Jawa and then became
that shit was funny.
And the Navajo fighter making its return and coming back to be that Buick Cadillac, and that whole scene of everybody customizing the car. Tone, I will let you take this one.
That shit was less like a Buick. That shit was a fucking Chevy.
Yeah, that just reminded me of like an old muscle car that you had. Like that old muscle car your uncle has. Like, I'm gonna put it back together. All right, uncle. All right, deal. And it's in the covers, and it's in the covers, and it's lifted up. Like,
how did you all feel when that motor got revved?
It was cool. It was cool. I think at this point they've been doing stuff with like the speeders and everything, just like to make it feel more like 80s back in 80s and 70s of when the original trilogy came out. So like having the muscle cars and having all the chrome scooters and having even the racer, the speeder scene in Streets of Mos Espa, which is literally a direct representation of Back to the Future. Which people were calling out. I think they just they did it to do it, just to kind of pay homage to it. But I enjoyed it. I mean, with her, I was like, man, I never heard anyone else speak Jawa, so that threw me for a loop. I was like, I was not expecting.
She dated a Jawa.
I feel like we've had people understand Jawa but not speak it, right?
Yeah, because they'll listen to Jawa and then they'll talk to Jawas in Basic.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That Jawa left an impression on her. George.
Yeah, no, dude, and that's, and I hate to keep doing this shit, but like a character like her, for example, right? Fun character, just side character, fun, right? She's dated a Jawa. She said they were furry. I was cracking up. Like that, those characters are missing in the regular show. Like even those characters, I was glad to see her. I was like, oh shit, I remember her. She's hysterical. And she's in there doing her thing and she's revving the end. I'm like, wow, this is cool. So I enjoyed the fact that she spoke to the Jawa, she dated the Jawa, like those little side things. She was actually in episode 4. I missed her. Like she had a little cameo. Like as the Mandalorian as Boba is going, I forget where he was going. You see her in Tatooine. You see her walking back towards her garage. Like she made a little cameo appearance. But
when Boba came in with the bantha, right?
Yes.
So I think that's letting us know that's the same time in season 1 when Mando shows up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just framed it. They framed it differently because they did the whole thing with the stormtrooper helmets, and I was like, oh, this okay. Now we're at the same time of that episode.
We're at the same time, yeah. So they did it. I think, like I said, I love what they did with this episode. I mean, they gave us all of that in the episode. So many things that we can say. I like that. I think there's very little things that we can say I did not like about this episode. And she's one of those things that I was like, yeah, this is cool. Like it didn't seem like it was going too long. I was like, oh shit, I wanted to keep seeing what else was going to happen. And when she came in, and she was obviously supposed to have been working on something, and she wasn't. It was just cool to watch that, man. I loved when they brought her back in.
Law.
So
But
Oh,
yeah,
was
Pong Law. Whichever
Oh,
one do you guys want to
so
go first?
Go
I
for
was
it.
gonna say, I as far as the name, you guys were talking about the name earlier. I've always hated the Book of Boba Fett from the beginning, just because there's too much alliteration in that name. But they should have just called it like the Book of Tatooine or the Book of Mos Eisley or something like that, and then had other little characters come through and build more of the story. Because I'm still holding out for a series about the spider monks. The ones that have their brain in the little jar.
Yeah,
that we saw like in the first episode.
Yeah, they lived in Jabba's.
Right.
They were the original
Oh,
inhabitants
right,
of
yeah.
Jabba's castle, and then they
yeah.
got all kicked out,
Yep.
and now they just kind of walk around. But yeah, they're monks who put their brains in the red tube of ooze is their essence.
Ivan Ooze.
Yeah. I mean, look, I like, so to your point, George, like with the side characters too. Like I think we're getting side characters in Book of Boba, but we don't get them for that long. Like I want to know more about the Cantina leader. I think she's pretty dope, and like she knows what's going on. Like why don't we know more about her? Why don't we know more about the three families that are running everything? Like we get little bits of lore. Like
because we're so busy with these flashbacks. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Like you could have had the flashbacks.
Yo, two episodes, maybe episode
and
and a half.
Just do all of that. Do all of that stuff, and then you lead it up.
Explore this world.
You know, the stuff with the Hutts and the twins. Like they showed up and like, oh, this is a flex, and then they leave, and because of the Pikes. I'm like, okay, like pick and choose who you're gonna bring into this, dude. And let's focus in on them, and let's have something going on. I like when we know what the other side is doing. I mean, Star Wars wasn't like really like that, but knowing what the other side is doing and then waiting for your good characters to kind of for those conflicts to come clashing together, right? And I feel like we're not getting a lot of that in this. It's really just focusing on whatever Boba's doing and whatever the Pikes are doing or whatever the other people in Mos Espa are doing. They're just kind of he's just showing up, and just making waves.
I would love to play poker there because apparently everyone just buys in and folds. Even the Jabbas we're like we're gonna take over everything. He's like, no. They're like, okay. And then they left. Like everybody just buys in and folds there.
Yeah.
But I love that there was a lot of little stuff in this episode too. Like for example, when the Jawas got that whatever the piece that they needed, that was like a throwback.
How'd you get it?
Yeah. How'd you get again? Jawas come from the Bronx.
Super facts.
Hunt's Point.
Yo, I think we're at that point, like
Mando season 2.
Yep.
Mando episode 2, season 1 is when we make the joke that they are literally like they're from the Bronx.
But I love it.
From the Bronx, they're gonna take your radio and then they'll leave your car on cinder blocks. Like that.
But because that piece, if you recognize that piece, that was in the first Star Wars movie when they were in the trash compactor. That piece showed up in there when they used that. The fact that now the rebels are certified highway cops night now in space, and we got back Appa from Kim's Convenience, the actor who played Appa in Kim's Convenience, who's just sitting there again. Again, that was pretty hilarious. They're just like highway cops. They're like New Jersey Highway Patrol. That's it. New Jersey State Troopers in space.
I like that the dude takes off and he's like, "Do you want to fill paperwork? Just let him go, dude." Like, it's like such a real answer.
And you got the young kid like, "All right, Captain, you're right.
You're right. Like, it's so good.
It was so good. Any final thoughts? Like, what you guys want to see what you want to see in this next episode? Like, do you think? What are your predictions?
We have 2 more episodes.
We got 2 more, and Mando even said, "I gotta go get my friend." So we're gonna get a whole episode. I'm not against it. Look, I'm not against it. That's not where this angst is coming from. But it's just like, okay, it's Book of Boba, but if we get a whole episode of him getting Grogu, what in the fuck is happening in this last episode?
Doesn't matter.
I don't know that. You think Din is coming back for whatever Boba's planning?
I think he is, but he said I'll help free of charge, but I gotta go do this.
Because I feel like I'm thinking that season 3 will be him doing that whole to do.
I'm thinking that maybe I don't think we see him in episode 6. I don't think we see Mando in episode 6. I think Fennec goes back, tells him I got the person we want, you know what I mean? And they continue to do whatever it is it's supposed to be doing. I still don't know what. And then in episode 6, who was it? You said Arella said this, that at the end, or D, right? Oh no, Val. She said that at the end, I think that crew that you're talking about that he will have will include the Mandalorian. You know, Mando will be back for that last episode, and then you're gonna be like, oh shit, and you set us up for.
It's just one of those things where like he said, like Jin says, I need to go get the child, and then we build up this whole to do of him not being worthy or ready to use the lightsaber, of using the dark saber. So is that more of a I will train for this in 2 years, or I'm going to train for this when I go see Grogu with Luke, and I'm going to learn how to use it, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to fight the Pikes and cut them down with the darksaber. Yeah. So it just feels like there's a lot of little nuggets of like things he needs to do, and then he's going to come back and help, win this turf war.
I almost feel like
they do a flash forward.
Go ahead, Punk.
Yeah. My guess is that they're going to do a flash forward. I gotta go do this thing, and then when we start tomorrow's episode, it'll be 1 year later or whatever, and then we'll see what happened in that 1 year in the next book of Mandalorian, or in the next Mandalorian, the Mandalorian of Mandalorians.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Punk. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. That's like the setup for Mandalorian 3. We don't see that, but he comes back in episode. You know what I mean? Like that happens in that 1 year. Yep.
Well, we're going to talk about our next topic. Oh, yeah. Law's favorite show, Peacemaker.
He loves next. All the time. Law's just like, my God, can we please talk about Peacemaker?
Don't fucking lie to the people like that.
So I want to get everybody's thoughts on Peacemaker. Well, give them your thoughts on Peacemaker. Come on.
Why am I starting first?
Because you hate it. The rest of us are going to be like, we like it, and all these other scenes.
Okay, so you guys like it, right? No one loves it. No one's saying they love it.
It's DC's best thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is not saying a lot.
But like,
really
okay, no,
it's the best food at a Golden Corral.
I'm gonna say it. I love it. I'm gonna say it.
The rolls are good at Golden Corral.
It's right. One, look, it's really good. And just because the DCEU has a low bar to settle doesn't mean it can still be really good compared to other forms of media. Like, I think that, like, if you look at just Peacemaker alone in the DCEU of TV shows, I think it can go against some of the other Marvel shows. I truly believe that. Like, the acting is good, the storytelling is good. Everything works. The only thing that doesn't work, and that's DCU's problem, and we as viewers need to just deal with the fact that this shit don't connect.
Right.
It doesn't connect. It never will connect. Like, as much as we want it to,
they don't roll
as
like
much
that.
as we truly want this to connect to the greater whole, I have decided I'm just going to let that go and enjoy the show for whatever it is.
But look, you were gonna say nobody
coming in hot.
Wow,
coming in hot.
Ooh,
okay. What, all of them, or some of them?
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
Wait, so ready for the bottom of the tomato? Yo, look. So what were you saying? Okay, so nobody likes. So what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so like for me, so Tone. Yeah, what did you say yesterday? You were like, I give it my seal of approval, and I was like, bet, I will take your word for it. Because I went into that, I was like, I really don't like. I did not want to watch it because I was just like, whatever. And Tone for being like, I didn't want to watch it either, and then watched it, was like, yo, I actually enjoyed it. I was like, all right, maybe there's something redeemable, maybe there's something I'm gonna enjoy. And I just felt like I was waiting for that moment of like, I'm digging this. Oh, I want to see what happens.
But
next.
Are you realistically? Because I know how you feel. Hold on. No. I know how we all know how you feel about the DCEU. We all know how you feel about DC in general, right? And do you feel?
I say it with my Batman hoodie and T-shirt.
Yes. But I think when it comes to the way we treat our DC stuff, because we always hold it to the expectations of what we had growing up and all. Because to me, DC is what I grew up with. Like, Marvel is awesome, and I love Marvel, but DC animation brought me up. Brought me up in animation of comics. So all of my prior knowledge and all of my interests and all of that comes from that. And when we get these live action adaptations, whether we do it or not, we unconsciously always compare it to that shit that we watched growing up. And I think it doesn't help because they don't plan it very well. But like, they're bringing in all these characters and it's like, well, it's just not as good as I'm like, well, I'm not expecting it to be, but it's still good. If you remove that, you have like, look at it independently. I don't see how you don't. What is it that you don't like?
So I was watching and I was like, all right, I want to like the characters. Let's start real base. I want to like characters. At best, Vigilante. at best. And I'm just like, okay. Everyone else, like, I'm just like, I don't have a like, that's my boy. Oh my god! Like, there wasn't a moment of like super funny dialogue, and they try to be really funny, and they try to be real like, and it's not for anyone's. Like, I love all the actors on that show. It's just not for me. Like, it was one of those things like Breaking Bad. I watched Breaking Bad, and I was just like, I guess I'm the one person who just doesn't relate to it. Or two people.
You're the guy who eats cilantro and it tastes like soap for you.
I guess so.
Season 2 and 3 of Breaking Bad were crap. They were just so it was a slog.
Well,
I like it when
season 2 is a slog, but when they bring in Gus is the greatest fucking thing that happened to that show.
Right, but that's having you wait for this thing. It's like the whole Book of Boba thing.
Yes.
It's the same argument if that's the case. Because for me, I'm watching expecting like, I'm like, all right, this alien thing. I called Merv being an alien from the minute he was like, they showed the alien in the brain kind of butterfly thing. I was like, all right, bet, cool. Then I remembered that he was being real emotionless, and I was like, yeah, he's one of the butterfly people. And he turned out to be like, it was one of those things where I was like, I super hope that homegirl doesn't become his girlfriend or love whatever interest, because that's just fucking whack. Like, there wasn't
hardcore.
Like, there wasn't enough of like Amanda Waller, like, send in your daughter so she could be the plant, and like, I'm just like, what are we doing? Like,
that threw me. I'll give you that. The Amanda Waller, the Amanda Waller daughter thing threw me off. It did throw me because that's my preconceived notion that Amanda Waller don't got no fucking kids. She don't got time for that shit.
Yeah, she was created for the show, but George,
she don't got time for 9 months of not doing work. Like, that ain't gonna happen.
I kind of just want to know like what I'm supposed to be like hopeful or expecting or like whatever for.
We're having for everyone who's wondering, who just tuned in, we're having an intervention with law to make sure that try to help them love Peacemaker. But George, I want to get your hot takes on this.
He said that shit ain't gonna work with me.
You're coming back
out of here. Out of here.
So I want to touch up on Vigilante because you mentioned Vigilante and that episode in episode 4 when he's just walking down the hallway and everything that we saw. And the simple fact of also too wanting to chase. So Vigilante for me has been one of the dope characters. So I want to get everybody's thoughts on that. George, we'll start with you, and then Pong, you follow up with that one.
I like Vigilante. I mean, I do like Vigilante. I think the way they brought him in, and like the fact that he's like a fanboy, like he's like Peacemaker's fanboy, and he just wants to be down and he wants to do all these things. I think he's hysterical. And like, to your point, Law, I think what works about this show is that the show is called Peacemaker, and this is Peacemaker's story with all of these other supporting characters kind of like around that one character. This isn't a story about Vigilante and Peacemaker's just, it's there, which is why I like about the show. Like, we're getting like, I think what James Gunn is doing with this show is what he did with the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Guardians of the Galaxy were obscure characters. Nobody really know who the fuck they were. We watched that movie. We're like, holy shit, where did these guys come from? These are great characters, right? Groot and all these guys. And I think he's doing the same thing with this particular. DC said, dude, just you want to write this shit? Go for it, right? And he wrote 9 episodes, and he and I know you saying you don't care about. He's actually making me care about Peacemaker, like the thing with his dad. You know what I mean? Like the fact that his dad is this crazy asshole. And then you thought he wasn't, you thought Peacemaker's an asshole. His dad's even worse, which makes you kind of care for Peace. You're like, damn, Peacemaker, I can see your dad made you do that shit to your brother. What the fuck? Who does that? Like, it really just makes you kind of do like, damn, this dude is really fucked. I can see why he's so fucked up. But I know your question was about Vigilante, but I just want to say,
go for it.
But V is the man. I mean, the dude is just funny, bro. Like, the things he does, and the fact that he knows he's kind of made fucked up decisions makes it even funnier. Like, I just think that when she tells him, yo, dude, like, you went in there and his dad is gonna do whatever he's gonna do. He's like, shit, I fucked up. Like, it's just those things. I'm like, yo, this thing. I think that James Gunn did a good job at writing these characters, and I get that it's just stupid comedy. I get it. Like, he made that shit clear from the opening credits where they're fucking doing the stupid dance. Like, this shit is
Pong.
ridiculous. It's a dumb fucking show that's supposed to make you laugh. But he added and injected shit that makes you care. You feel me? Like, and that's great writing, dude. Like, when you know this shit is supposed to be stupid and you still care about these characters to some level, I think they're doing a good job with the show.
Pong, go ahead. And you, I know you had a hot take too on this too. You found it. Go.
Found the secret. Are you ready? Do you want to know what the intro means? The intro gives away the whole damn thing.
Ooh.
Spoiler alert.
Their moves, Space Invaders. No. Their moves mimic the aliens in Space Invaders. I couldn't figure it out because like when they come through the door, what's her name? Harcourt and someone else come through the door and they do this like thing, with their arms, and I was like, that's a weird dance. What the hell is that about? And I saw a tweet somewhere that was about that was saying it was Space Invaders. I was like, of course. And then when they do the pelvic thrusts, that's the spaceship that comes across and shoots the shot at you from the top. That's what that is. It's Space Invaders. They were telegraphing it from the beginning. I knew it was going to be some crap like that. But now that I hear the theory, I'm like, all the dances track to different ships in Space Invaders.
Wow.
In Space Invaders, it's bugs, right?
In Space Invaders?
Yeah, isn't it bugs?
You're thinking Centipede.
You think it's Centipede?
Yeah, but this is Peacemaker shown dealing with aliens with the butterflies. Yeah. That's a good. And I've been sitting there trying to see like if something different happens with the dance because James Gunn says no, you have to pay attention to the dance. I can see it now. This whole thing of the Space Invaders.
There it is.
I think I watched the intro twice and then I was just like, it's the same. So I just stopped watching it.
I stopped watching it.
HBO Max has the skip intro feature now.
Very nice.
Love them.
It's my favorite fucking intro to any show. I can't skip it. But yeah.
I was gonna say Vigilante. As far as Vigilante goes, I kind of touched on this last week. I absolutely loved the scene in the prison. That was just amazing. Like he knew exactly how to get those guys to do what he wanted to, and it almost worked. It came damn close to working, and that was one of my I loved it. So yeah, I guess really I do really like. I don't know if I can say I loved Peacemaker. I can definitely say I really liked it. And that's coming from the guy that on this exact channel, probably less than a month ago, I was like, I just so do not care.
Yeah.
And I watched I watched a couple episodes and I got to admit, it's not bad.
Yep. I look forward to it on Thursday.
Again, you guys keep saying not bad. Like, see, like, again, I'm just hearing what you're saying. You're saying,
I say not bad because the DCU always sets us up for a swing and a miss.
Yes.
So like you go into the DCU and you watch the media and you're like, oh, it's not bad. When not bad can like honestly mean a lot of things. Shazam isn't bad. I enjoyed Shazam for what it is. Shazam's pretty good fun movie. Just Aquaman isn't bad. Right. So like it sucks when you look at the DCEU, you could just say it's not bad and be like, all right, cool, I'll watch it. Like that is all you need to say for a DCEU. Like I'm hoping when I watch Batman and it's 2 hours and 47 minutes of full runtime before credits, I come out there saying it's something else. Then it wasn't bad. That's not bad. That's not bad, yo. Oh man, almost 3 fucking hours. Like
wow.
Listen, like
I'm that's another one I'm unfortunately not looking forward to.
And it sucks because like you watch the DCEU and you're like, I just want it to be good.
They have the iconic characters, right? They have Batman.
You have everything.
All their characters under one roof, and they
have
can't
all the that's exactly where I am. Is like I just want them. I want them to win. I want them to do great. I don't even want like a big like blow me away. I just want you guys to be what you are, and they're not.
So I got a question. So with how rough the DCEU the movies have been, do you think that the movies overshadow a lot of the other properties that have been doing okay? Do you think it leaves like a back?
Well, which other properties do you mean? Like, do you have
shows? You have Titans, Arrowverse. You have what's it called? The show with Brendan Fraser. I forget the name of it right now. It's not the
Doomsday Patrol.
Doomsday
The
Patrol, like
Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol. Like you have a lot of other good shows that are out there. Like Naomi's doing pretty well, but yet because of this stench that the overall DCU has left, do you think that it's hurting a lot of these properties from?
But the whole thing becomes: are we lumping their shows and all the various like HBO shows, the CW shows, the Alfred Pennyworth?
I don't know about the other ones, but I know. Looking at the way they're doing it, Peacemaker comes from the Suicide Squad, which comes from Suicide Squad, and if I recall, Suicide Squad is part of Snyder's DCEU because it had his Batman and it had all that other stuff. So it's all kind of part of that line, which probably will be wiped out because of Flashpoint, because they're deciding to wipe their slate clean. I don't no one knows where anything is. We know that Batman, the new Robert Pattinson's Batman that comes out next month, is part of Earth 2. Like they said that. They said it's a completely different Batman and a completely different Earth. I'm like, all right, well, at least you ripped the Band-Aid off and told us from the jump. So I don't know. It's like they're playing with the multiverse idea, but I feel like they're only playing with the multiverse idea because that's the only way to explain the nonsense. Yeah. Where Marvel's like, we're doing this as a single timeline, and then we're gonna bring in the multiverse when it works because now we own most of our shit. And now we're gonna play with the multiverse because we have such a solid timeline.
I think what you said earlier, Tone, was right. Like, I think that we just got to forget about these guys are not going to make sense. Like, let's just forget about DC making any kind of sense, any kind of continuity. Let's forget that shit. Let's just look at each property that they're putting out for what it is, just that one property, and forget about the promises of other shit coming out because it's not going to come out. Because we saw at the end of whatever movie, we saw Batman, in the desert. That shit's never going to happen. Like that. They lied. It's not going to happen. Let's just let it go. Forget about it. That's not what they do. And we never said that about their cartoons, right? We always said that their animation was where they excelled. And the movies never hurt that. The movies never hurt that. And I think that we got to start looking at their shows the same way because Flash, it's a good show. It's not a bad show. I think Gotham was a good show. You know what I mean? So what else it did? Let it go. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's it. It's done. And I think that if we start doing that, I think we're going to enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy the shows a little more if you just forget about the fact that they're going to fuck it up. Like, I think we come in there with that. These guys are going to fuck that shit up. So when we get Peacemaker, we're like, they didn't fuck it up. They didn't. Like, this actually works, dude. Like, and now from what I understand, they're doing spinoffs of other characters within
James Gunn is getting the green light because
he's getting green light for other shit.
He's getting the green light because of success. And it's going to be interesting because if Matt Reeves' Batman fails, how much is DC now going to throw at James Gunn because they're going to look at him to try to be the guy to build their stuff?
I mean, he did say this Guardians is the last Guardians, so he's technically done with Marvel unless he comes back to do other stuff, but I don't think James Gunn is going to be coming back to Marvel because DC is letting him do the type of media that he wants to do. Right. Like they're letting him do R-rated content. They're letting him do whatever they're letting him just run with it.
Yes.
So I think he'll probably go to DC, and I think DC is better with James Gunn.
Yeah.
I think he brings something that they didn't need. I didn't care for the second Suicide Squad. I was kind of over the Suicide Squad. It was really? It's better than the first one. But I just, it wasn't, but it wasn't like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing in the world. It was fun. I think Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is like chef's kiss, amazing. That's who she is. I didn't care for Starro and all other shit and, some of the things. So, but like, aside from all of that, I think James Gunn being in the DCEU makes it a better product. It's just a shame because I feel like we can't have these continuous stories that Marvel does. We always need to have an origin. Like we always need to do it now. Like we can't just have a movie with these characters and plug them in and then all the other shit that happened in the past answers your questions and gives you the info. It's like, I need to explain shit in the first fucking hour and then you get an hour and a half of original content. And like, that's,
Go
ahead, Pong.
So I have a throwaway, and I may have an actual point in addition to that. Yeah, I do. So here's the throwaway. Could you imagine a James Gunn directed Deadpool? But the actual point is, do you think that they are doing this intentionally? Do you think that DC is doing that intentionally, not having them link up so that they can tell whatever story they want to without having to keep track of this giant canon, so that they can release the Joker and now the Joker 2. I don't know how
with Joaquin.
Yeah, with
I
Joaquin.
can answer that because after Justice League flopped, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go the multiverse. These things don't take place in the same universe," because they're really trying to put their whole Infinity Crisis. And like I said, I think the Arrowverse has the best crossover second to Marvel in terms of bringing an ensemble cast together of
It's whole
heroes.
multiverse of madness.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like after Endgame, like when we got that, and then now we're gonna get like we got the Spider-Man, which is another one, and then we're gonna get Multiverse of Madness, which Marvel's holding the key with that one. But yeah, no, they after the whole Justice League project failed and they couldn't get it to jumpstart, they were like everything's just gonna take place in like different things and all that, so that they're just throwing stuff out there to get stuff to stick, because I think they want to be the ones to say that we did it first. Like Wonder Woman, I felt was, it was about time we had the Wonder Woman movie, but it was like, oh, we want to be the first ones to have a first female superhero movie. Oh, we want to be the first ones to have this. Oh, we want to be the first ones to have that. Like,
and they were right for 2/3 of the movie.
Yeah,
2/3 of that movie is perfect.
They were.
Yeah,
2/3. I can watch those 2/3 of Wonder Woman and not get tired and want to turn it off. And then we get to when she fights Ares, I'm like, and I'm fucking done. Once we get past No Man's Land, because No Man's Land is fucking amazing. Everything about 2/3, amazing. Then we get to that final arc. I'm like, I don't remember it. Like, I talked to Jackie about it. And she's like, I never really thought about this. Like, I don't remember the end. I'm like, yeah, the end sucks. The end sucks.
Everything from the CGI to why she's fighting them, everything.
The Dragon Ball Z fight, that's what it was.
Yeah. But to your point with the Justice League thing, I think that's Warner shot themselves in the foot with that shit. Mm-hmm. After the tragedy that happened with Zack, and he had to go take care of that, and you bring in Joss Whedon, and Joss Whedon just got to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do with it. He destroyed it. Like, you watched Justice League and you watch Snyder Cut, and as long as it is, Snyder Cut is a much better quality piece. It's a much better quality piece. And like, if had that been launched, I'm sure people would have enjoyed that more, because there were people that did enjoy Man of Steel, and there's somehow people that enjoy BVS. I don't know how, because I've watched it twice. And I was like, I can't like this.
You watched it twice?
I watched the Ultimate Edition because I wanted to see the extra content.
Oh,
I watched the Ultimate Edition. It's like one of those things where I put it on during the daytime and I put it on with the kids. It's one of those. Yeah,
could not pay me enough.
Yeah,
I don't understand how it went. I'm sorry. I was just gonna say I don't understand how that went so wrong with Joss Whedon, because he did Firefly. Firefly was great. He did the Avengers. Avengers was great.
Avengers 1 and
Avengers
then Avengers 2. I think I'm like, maybe, and I don't know what it takes to be a director. I don't know any of that, but I think I think Avengers 1 is like his magnum.
Yes,
that's his pinnacle piece.
Yeah,
Firefly is great, and I believe he did stuff with. I believe he's also Buffy the Vampire. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy the Vampire.
But I feel that Avengers 1 is his pinnacle masterpiece, magnum opus, and Ultron. They probably told him, you need to be better than that, and that shit probably fucked with him. Mm-hmm. And then because if you think about it, after Avengers, he did Ultron, which isn't the best movie, although it's better than Thor 2. And then I can't name anything else he did after Avengers 1 aside from Ultron and Justice League, both of which like negatively went down. Like one was worse than the other. And then Law, you're muted if you're saying anything.
I was saying I think once they got the Russo brothers, like he was done with.
He was done after Avengers 2 because he says he was burnt out. He was going to retire from doing superhero movies. And I feel again what happened was that he was being brought on because DC wanted to have that flavor and just let Whedon do whatever he wanted to do. And I feel like the reason that Whedon probably was burnt out from Avengers
is because he's problematic.
Yeah, and I also feel like Disney was the one at the time, like we don't want, and also too he had to answer Feige, we know has gone on record to bat for his people, and at the end of the day, didn't want that shit.
I mean, there's still problems though, like the whole thing with like Natasha being like a side piece for Bruce, and like you have that whole narrative, and then you got the fact that the woman was pregnant, and you put a green screen band around her belly, and she's doing action scenes. So I'm like, all right, well Joss isn't doing anything for her. But she's being a badass and fucking fighting and doing stunts with a fucking baby in her belly. So like,
That's not the first actress who was pregnant that he's done some stupid shit with, because Charisma Carpenter too came out and said
all of it.
They all came.
If we did an episode, we can do a whole episode on how
they all came out.
It's not going to be the Josh Whedon hour.
No, but it all came out, especially after the Justice League stuff and what Gal was saying about him, and like even the jokes in Justice League when the Flash falls on top of her. I'm like, that's not fucking needed. Or like the scene where you're like hovering over Wonder Woman's ass and then it moves up. I'm like, again,
it all started with Cyborg. Once Cyborg like said his piece and everyone was like, oh, bro, blah, and then I was like, that's fucked. And then now that it's like kind of getting revealed, everyone's like, oh, Cyborg, you were right. Like, come on, bro.
Oh, Ray Fisher, you got screwed over. This entire movie was amazing with you.
So we could be stuck on Whedon, like you said, it's another episode. But I want to get back to Peacemaker because we definitely went off the rails on that one.
That is what
the gorilla.
Told you.
The gorilla. Chekhov's gorilla. We got to talk about the gorilla. Did you guys expect that, George? We will start with you because you come on. The gorilla.
Was I? No, I wasn't. I wasn't expecting that at all. I wasn't even expecting him to get chopped up with that what you call it, with the chainsaw either. Like I did not.
I'm surprised PETA has not made a statement of how brutally murdered that gorilla was.
Yeah.
I was more surprised that they didn't use him to be Grodd or somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what? Like, I'm glad they didn't.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think they're separating themselves from all that shit. Like they're like,
yeah,
gorilla.
But you know if they have like hyper intelligent, like being like, you can have the butterfly in his head, like I would have been like, oh, you're setting up Grodd for later. Like he's got it and whatever. When I don't know.
Yeah.
It would have been more like, for me.
I thought it when he first showed up, I was like, oh, they're making him Gorilla Grodd. I'm like, no, he's just got a butterfly and he's just like a strong bodyguard or something.
Yeah.
Yo, so Pong, you're next on that. The gorilla. Come on, give us your thoughts.
Oh yeah, so I mean, it was the most obvious thing in the world. If they did the news thing, like, oh, a gorilla escaped from jail, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna see that gorilla again. That's a thing. And also, of course, Chekhov's chainsaw as well. Like, oh, hey, I want to kill somebody with a chainsaw. Okay, someone's about to get killed with a chainsaw. Okay, cool. But I do wonder though, does this mean that all gorillas have the ability for speech? But they just don't. They're like either they just don't, or they can't put it together, or like does this mean gorillas have speech at least in the DCU?
Grodd.
Grodd has the helmet, or he's just super smart. I forget his origin.
It's a little bit of both, I think.
Okay.
There was like a Gorilla Nation too that they touched up. I remember they showed it in the animation.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about how Adebayo got bodied by that gorilla when they were coming.
Everybody got bodied by that gorilla. Everybody was getting thrown.
There was no one who stood a chance. Everyone was getting clapped.
Cena got it was great.
I died. She looks at it, like gorilla. Boom. She didn't even get to finish it.
There's a fucking. Loved it. Yeah. So great.
But yeah, I mean, also too, the scene between Cena and Economos, I can't even say his name, Economos, when they were doing the PowerPoint presentation, the best PowerPoint presentation I've ever seen. So it's like them doing the scene, that whole scene between Cena and that actor, that was just beautiful. What did you guys think about that scene? And I was telling someone earlier, I think that whole scene that Cena did, I feel like a lot of that was ad-libbed.
It was. Yeah. He was supposed to only say 2 names. And
really,
yeah, he was only supposed to say like Miley Cyrus and somebody else. And James Gunn was like, "Give me more names," and he just and they were like, "Give me more fucking names," and they just kept. So they were there just doing that scene, and they were all just fucking cracking up because Cena's saying "Red Robot from Voltron," like what? Who? You know what I mean? Like,
I knew old guys from the Muppet Show.
Yeah. So what's funny is that like when Cena goes on these rants, so like when he did the one with the old guy and he was talking about how Batman is more of a villain than he is,
right.
Like about how he doesn't let any of these go, that he could have just could have killed them and ended. Like, I think Cena performs that shit so well.
Yes.
And he really he just performs with such conviction. Obviously, like the wrestling definitely helps. Like you see his personality from wrestling shine in this show. And like you really see it. So I feel like the character was definitely James Gunn made the character for him. He makes the character work. And he makes it a fun watch, because if Cena didn't land, this show doesn't work. Because I didn't really care for Peacemaker and Suicide Squad. I thought he was a dick. I thought he was funny, but I thought he was a dick. And I was like, I don't need a whole show with this guy.
Yeah, right.
And you didn't. Then they really play up the fact that like his dad's a white supremacist, and like he brought up all this shit happened with his brother, and like he's like trying to be good, and the whole justice thing. And he's like, I'm not like you, Dad. Like I'm still gonna kill people, but I'm not a racist. And like they try to make you feel for him as this flawed character based off his upbringing. And the pressures he put on himself, even like when he's in the scene with the trailer, he's punching himself, saying, I push everybody away and all of this. But then, you put that next to like his ridiculousness when like he's sleeping with the butterfly and he's yelling freedom. So like there's so much about him that I think make it funny and make it work, where it's just like, yeah, he's a good, solid 3D character because he's going through that shit with what happened with his brother. And then I'm excited to see what the diary's about. Like, what are we going to get from that diary?
That was, I don't understand that at all. Was that his actual diary?
I don't know. I don't know why Waller wants her to put the diary there. I don't know what it is. It feels like they maybe got it from him because they have this whole file on him. It could be his brother's diary. I have no idea.
Right.
Yeah. What do you guys speculation at George? Pong, go.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I really honestly I don't know what's in that diary, and the fact that it's kind of fuck, and that's part of like what I was telling you about with the characters, like Adebayo, for example, right? She kind of likes him, like she likes him as like she thinks he's a dick. He's obviously a dick, but she kind of like, damn, I don't want to do this to this guy, but my mom's telling me I got to do this shit. I got to do this shit. I got to put this thing. I got to set him up, and I got to do it. I don't know what's in that. What's in that diary, but I thought it was hysterical when he's giving her that drink, and she's like, "This shit is disgusting." And they can't even drink it, like little shit like that. I know it's stupid comedy, dude, but like I fucking cracked up when they're having that drink. She's like, "Yo, you just got a beer?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll give you a beer." Like it's just stupid shit like that just cracks me up about the show.
I just caught on to the fact that I think the reason he did that is because he doesn't know how to mix a drink. I think that's what it is. He's like, oh, when people come to your house, you're supposed to mix a drink for them. He knew that much, but he didn't know how to mix a drink. So he just threw a bunch of crazy crap together. And
I thought it was because he had 4 years old of shit in his fridge.
No, he just didn't know how to mix a drink. I instantly thought in my head, I was like, oh, that's gonna piss off Tone. He makes a mean drink, makes a mean old fashioned.
I mean, I wasn't even thinking that, but yeah, I mean, I also do think to that point too, Law, is the 4-year-old stuff, but I guess he must have went food shopping because he's eating raw eggs.
So speaking of Peacemaker, I had a thought on this. So I was trying to like go through my head, why in the hell is Peacemaker keeping the butterfly, but when he's going through the plant, he's killing them, bang, 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 right? He doesn't care. But then I just realized Murr's doing the same damn thing. Murr's running a crew that's doing the whole thing. Do you think that this is a whole that this is like a war between two different factions of butterflies that's being brought here?
I definitely thought that with Murr. Like, why is he letting them do this? Like he knows that they're shooting them and killing them and stuff. So I don't, but I guess we'll find out, because obviously they're not going to kill Adebayo on Thursday. She's not going to die. He's going to probably talk to her.
Right.
After he knows that, like, she knows what he is. And I think we'll find out more info, because the whole butterflies thing is so up the chain.
Also, don't forget. Go ahead, Tom. I'm so sorry.
No, that's it. It's just, pretty much just how they connected all the political.
I was going to point out too what Judo Master was about to tell Peacemaker is like, you don't understand why the butterflies are here, and then he got shot by Adebayo, right in the gut, right there. Or was it a gut? No, it was like more of it around the chest area.
It was a chest shot.
Yeah,
but we do know that she's not. We do know she's not a butterfly, because they looked at her with the X-ray glasses.
Yeah. Which I also like the fact that they brought in like the different helmets and what each helmet does. I like that they incorporated that, because it just looks ridiculous. Like in the movie, I was like, what the fuck is this guy with the stupid helmet? Like, this is retarded. And now I see it and I'm like, oh my God, it makes so much sense. Like,
so Ray coming in. You got a plus one to the, you got a plus one, Law. Got a plus one to the dance.
Oh shoot. But I do like the fact that he has the X-ray, because like when he walks in, he just starts blasting them in the head. And she's like, I thought you were gonna be cool. And he's like, do I not look cool? Like,
I'm cool.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I think that they're doing like that part of it. I liked also that they added that into the show.
I love the fact again, Eagly is just awesome. Eagly, we all need an Eagly.
Is it basically Deadpool?
I don't think so, because then
the crude humor and the violence, but like then the aspect of the fourth wall break, which is
the fourth wall break,
but the content for for all the shit they're doing, I can see the similarities.
But then again, you got The Boys, you got what is it on Amazon? What's the other show? Tone Invincible. I mean, you have a lot of shows that are doing that when it comes to like with these superhero characters, that you can say that Deadpool has kind of led some of the way for that. But with James Gunn, this is just him getting free range to do what he wants with the characters, and it's actually making it more edgy in a way. But again, going back to Peacemaker, I don't know. I love the fact that we're getting this whole thing where we're going to see him take on his father, because that's probably where we're leading up to it. Ray, you're hitting the cans again. Love you, bro. Eagly, like cartoon. There you go.
Disney cartoon.
But no, I love the fact that we're getting the whole thing with the set, because his father's out now. The cops are coming after Peacemaker. Again, the whole thing with Murr being a butterfly, like what is his agenda against his own kind, and then like the whole butterfly that's bonding with Peacemaker, especially off that scene where he got the butterfly high, and that butterfly is down with him now. Gave him the munchies. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys see? Like, what do you? And we know that Harcourt, James Gunn has confirmed that she's going to appear in more DC properties, so the actress as the character will be back. Where do you guys think that we're going to, like, what are your predictions, or what do you want to see, or what do you want to see DC take, the Warner Brothers actually take from the Peacemaker show that's working so well? Or what do you give your opinions on it? And we'll go around the room. We'll start with Law.
I knew you were gonna pick me.
You're
honestly, I have no idea like what I would want more of, because I still don't know what I'm getting.
Well, let me ask you: the freedom that James Gunn is having right now, and the fact that the execs are not breathing down his back, do you think that will be a plus to DC for the future of DC, or do you think that it's something that
I think that approach would benefit most any director? You know what I mean? Like a lot of what we've seen in the DCEU has been like interference from execs going, "We know better than you," and it's like, then why the fuck are you hiring me? Like, like you want me to tell these stories or not? Because obviously you don't. You just want, that's gonna be really attractive to the audience, and we're gonna sell out, millions of tickets and dollars. And all. No, you're gonna get people really upset and really angry. I think you have to fucking fumble and figure out what the hell you're gonna do with the rest of your shit. So at this point, I'm kind of just like, let's see where it goes, and it is what it is.
George.
I don't know where like the story is kind of going. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it, but I think that what DC needs to do is exactly what they're doing right now. Don't try to be Marvel. Like, don't try to. Like Marvel has Disney, and Disney's telling Marvel, you got to be a little more, we can't do R-rated stuff. We got to keep it PG. We got to be PG-13. Don't go too crazy. And they're in that bubble. They're doing their thing, and that's working for them. DC, don't do what Marvel's doing. Do your own thing. If you want to write R-rated stuff, if you want to get darker with your characters and all that other stuff, go for it, man. Like, just stay in your own, do your own thing. Don't do what Marvel's trying to do. I think that for a little while, especially with Marvel, with Superman versus Batman, they were trying to do that whole, okay, we're going to tell this story, and this is going to lead to the next story, and that's how we're going to bring in Wonder Woman. And they were trying to do that whole thing that Marvel was doing with the Avengers. And so until they got to Justice League
in one movie,
right? And it didn't work. So don't do that. Stop trying to do that. That formula obviously doesn't work for you. Stop. Do this, because I know you don't like it, but I think it works for them. I think this works more so. We're getting a character that I never heard of Peacemaker, and a lot of these characters I never heard of, and they're making it work for me. I kind of like this guy. I want to see what happens with him. I want to see what happens next. So I think that that's what DC needs to do.
Pong.
I would say the best thing to take from this is James Gunn, because he seems to be just being able to do to work magic on just about anything he touches with this. And if they are able to bring that managerial style of like just leaving people the hell alone, then so much the better. I mean, like you guys said, it's that'll help just about anything. Like that'll help just about any. Leaving your people alone for the most part and just trusting them to do their damn job, 9 times out of 10 is going to work out even better than if you try to meddle in it. If you try to direct it over their shoulder. So, I mean, yeah.
Tom, take it away.
I mean, I gotta go with what Pong says too. Just the whole idea of bringing in James Gunn really fleshed out what they can do with their obscure characters, and I think they should do more obscure characters from DC. Just people that we're not all familiar with, that we don't have a bond to, unless you're like a hardcore comic book reader and you're reading all these characters. But just bring some of these other characters into the fold if you're going to do these TV shows while you figure out what the fuck you're doing with the Trinity, essentially, because you don't know what you're doing with them. And that shouldn't stop you from making really good content because you own all of your characters. There's so many other superheroes you can do stuff with, and you can make all these shows really good and either connect them or leave them alone. But DC owns all these characters, and there's a lot that we can bring in to bring forward. And I think that's the route they should go. And if James Gunn becomes their person who does all this as he finishes Guardians 3, then so be it. I am excited to see what else he can do with these characters.
Yeah, I mean, and just to touch upon that point, I feel that what's been working for Peacemaker, and I've been saying it, you have to get people who respect the comics industry and to just love the source material, because that's why Punisher worked. John Brethenall went into a comic shop, purchased a bunch of Punisher comics because he wanted to study the character. Why Witcher worked is that because Henry Cavill is a big fan of the Witcher series and he put input on the character. What we're seeing with Peacemaker is that not only do you have a cast that loves the characters, but you have James Gunn, who is a big fan, who has pulled obscure characters. He did it for Marvel. He's doing it for DC now. And it's just, getting people that are working on this material that actually understands and has a love for the comics. Now, it's not going to 100% represent what was in the comics, because you can't, because a lot of stuff too in comics doesn't age well. Like, for example, like the Mandarin, and I'm glad we waited to get the Mandarin. The thing is that, again, it comes down to the people who respect, like Kevin Feige. Without Kevin Feige in the middle of all the Marvel stuff, you wouldn't have the MCU that we have today. Kevin Feige is the central guy, and he picked and chose the people to work with to help build what they have in the Marvel. DC, Warner Brothers, the execs, they're not the fans. James Gunn has showed that he is a big fan of stuff. Zack Snyder had his own vision, and I don't want to say Snyder was not a fan, because seeing the Snyder cut, it was decent, it was good. And it could have been its own thing, but again, you had execs that wanted this, wanted that, and when you don't have people who are paying attention to some of the source material, pulling from the source, because again, just to bring up Marvel again, Marvel pulled from multiple sources, their ultimate sources, their what if sources, their alternate comic timelines to make one big thing to cohesive for the MCU. DC, Warner Brothers has a lot of content, and like Law always points out, Warner Brothers owns all their stuff. And it makes no sense. Let's make it make sense. And I think Peacemaker is an example of what they need to do, because the numbers don't lie. It's beating their Wonder Woman movie. It's beating Book of Boba. It's beating Witcher in terms of streaming numbers. Wow. And people are tuning in and talking about this show. So at the end of the day, Peacemaker is what they need to sit down, study what worked, and actually look at their stuff, what's working, what's not working, and take a UX design course. And this way, because your user experience is not working, whatever you're doing, we need some surveys. But that's just my take on it.
Just one last thing, Seabass, to what you were saying. Like, also, it shows like to put them up against Boba Fett, they really took a chance. You know what I mean? And I think that's that's how much faith they had in this show, where they were like, you know what? Yeah, Boba Fett's streaming at this time. Let's put it out there and let it do what it do. And it's doing, like you said, the numbers don't lie. It's doing great as far as numbers go.
Yeah, it is. And again, numbers don't lie, and that's what they're going to look at. And unfortunately, that's probably what the execs are only going to pay attention to is the numbers. And if that's the only thing you're paying attention to, you're not going to strike. You're not going to hit a home run out of the park again. It can be that this will be the mulligan you have, and because you're not paying attention what worked with the show, and you're only paying attention to numbers, it's not going to work. So they have to pay attention, really go and like, this is why. And James Gunn may be that guy where they just need to let him control his own stuff. Like, it worked for the Arrowverse for a while. And I mean, I still think it does work for the Arrowverse, that they're not really bogged down. The only thing that's hurt the Arrowverse is that execs have come to them and told them that you can't use these characters. There's literally characters they won't let them use any, like Harley Quinn. She only appeared as a silhouette on Arrow when they were doing their Suicide Squad, and their Suicide Squad got screwed because of the movie.
As a voice, they
yeah,
were
as a
to have
voice,
headshot. They were supposed to have
it got screwed. And yet the writers and the guys, the showrunners for the Arrowverse, still did better than what they did in the DCU.
Diggle from early on in Arrow was supposed to be Green Lantern, like hinted at.
And they pulled, and
they were like, we got to rewrite that.
David Ramsey, the actor who plays him, he's set to direct another DC show for the Arrowverse. But if they sell the CW, that might mess up a lot of their stuff. Which again, I think the Arrowverse is something that they need to study, because it has done, with the exception of the last season of Flash, not the current season, the last season, which suffered from COVID and really bad writing. They've really had some good stuff coming out of the Arrowverse that a lot of people are missing. Like Naomi's a really good show.
May benefit for them to just, because if HBO Max is going to be the place for all this, to cut a lot of the shows from other like platforms, because you had Pennyworth on Epics or something like that. You have the whole CW verse. You have what was it? Lucifer's on Netflix. You have all these like different like kind of just throwaway things all over the place. Start streamlining them all to HBO Max. Get like the HBO Max and HBO like money from it, and do it right. If you want it under the same umbrella, the same roof, and you want it to actually do well for you, just throw it in the same house and actually let these like creators and the directors and whatnot play.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's been a fun episode, guys. Gorilla and all.
Long episode.
Yeah.
It's past our bedtime. Anyway,
We've been talking a lot of Veggie Tales this entire time.
It's your veggies, your sleep, your meat. But anyway, this has been a great episode. Thank you, George. Thank you, Pom, for coming on. I'm gonna give you guys.
It's always a pleasure.
First, I'm gonna give you guys the plug. So first, we'll start with George. Plug away.
Yeah, so for everybody watching, go to getyourmeds.com. Check out my books there. The Adventures of Wonder Duck is coming to Kickstarter in May, so sign up for the pre-launch page that's up there right now. And that's and watch Catch the Craze that comes on every Friday. We do some live shows on Wednesday. We'll have a live show tomorrow, so check us out at 8:00 tomorrow on Catch the Craze.
Okay, thank you, George. And Pong, we will solo you out.
Well, let me tell you something. If you enjoyed watching me tonight and you enjoy making stuff and you're like, I'd like to make stuff and watch that guy and maybe some of his friends, who knows? Maybe Sebastian and Law and Tone will stop by. That might be fun. Well, have I got a channel for you? It's twitch.tv/Synshop. That's SYNSHOP. And that's every Monday and Friday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And it's right there on twitch.tv/Synshop. Now, you might be like, hey, wait a minute. What the hell is a Synshop, man? Well, if you go to synshop.org, you'll see that it is a makerspace located in Las Vegas, Nevada, that has the tools and materials that you can use to make pretty much whatever you can think of. So stop by, check it out, find out about the shop, and join us Mondays and Fridays on twitch.tv/Synshop. The end.
There you go. All right. That damn Book of Boba, So we got a great episode coming up next week. The Creator series of Sammy Castillo is also coming out too, because this is a series we got to cover. We still have sorry we're behind on the Creator series, guys, but those are coming out. We still have Sammy, Chris Burgos, and 2 other creators that we pre-taped last year. We had some technical issues, pulling some files, but those are back up and running. So Sammy's episode is coming out, so look for that. So if you guys are subscribing to the channel, make sure that you guys check that out. But again, this has been your boy Sebastian.
It's your boy Law.
Anybody Tone from across the hall.
And make sure you watch Law's favorite show, Peacemaker. Tune in every Thursdays. But make sure you guys are back next Tuesday. We got a great one for you. Peace.
Watch my Twitch streams.
Yes, there you go. Play that beautiful B music.